What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Most Valuable Podcast. I am Mark Williams with my colleague
Victor Castro.
and we're just two dudes who talk about real estate for a living. We're going to continue today focusing on you, the potential home buyer here in the Bay Area. And today's topic is going to be a little bit, I would say, more of our opinion. We're going to have some facts as well, but we're going to talk about some hidden gems, some cities we feel are up and coming and are being slept on right now. And with home prices continually rising in the Bay Area, where you can maybe expand your search for a little bit longer drive or a little bit longer commute, but where you might be able to get in before these cities eventually become the places where everybody wants to move. That's how I look at it. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more of my personal experiences growing up in the Bay Area, being a lifelong Bay Area native. I know you can speak on that as well. And some of the cities we lived in and maybe from our youth to how they are now. And then us helping all these clients throughout the Bay Area. We just don't focus on one city. What we're starting to notice over the last 5 years of doing real estate in your book and almost 8 years in my book, we've seen changes in cities over that short period of time, right? So how about you start us off, Victor? Let's talk about, I know you pulled up a stat, and we'll go over this stat right now, which is the median home prices
as of January 2025
of each county in the Bay Area.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So, yeah, Mark, is it affordable to live in the Bay Area? And that's what we're going to cover today. Yes, it is. I think there's still possibilities where you can find here in the Bay Area in, maybe an hour commute, 30-minute commute away from where you're currently at. And it could potentially change your life for the better moving forward. That's what me and you did, Mark.
Yeah.
Even though my change was a little less drastic than yours.
Yep.
I know you migrated from the South Bay to the East Bay.
But I migrated to the South Bay from the San Francisco. So, there's a reason for that. At that time, it was more affordable.
Right. And then also your job, right, too.
Yeah, and work, yeah.
So, I think also something to pinpoint is you can find work elsewhere. You can find a job here. Like, just because you have to work at doing whatever you do in maybe the peninsula doesn't mean that you can't find something that's similar or comparable in the East Bay.
And we can lean into that a little bit as well in this podcast from experiences with clients, kind of what some of the moves they made in their careers as they transition from living from one part of the Bay Area to the other in order to purchase their home. Because we've all helped clients relocate from maybe an area where they grew up in, but they were renters, to now a new city that they are homeowners, and what their transition as far as like work. Some of them are still commuting, some don't. Some, like you said, were able to relocate work-wise as well. So why don't you get into the statistic as far as what those home prices, the average home price, the median home price in each county in the Bay Area.
Where do you
just start? Go most expensive to the cheapest.
Okay, yeah. Let's start most expensive, guys, which is Silicon Valley. Okay,
what a surprise!
San Mateo County at $1,960,000. Almost $2 million.
You know what's crazy is, I was born in San Francisco, lived in San Francisco for a little bit when I was a kid, and then we moved to San Mateo County. We were Daly City. I grew up in like Daly City, and then later in high school was like South San Francisco. And my parents were both working parents, but they were just average. No one was a rocket scientist, or they had good paying jobs, but we weren't wealthy by any means, right? I would say we were middle class. And my parents I remember the first home they bought, they rented for many years. And the first home they bought was in Daly City, and the street's called Oceanside, right off of Skyline. If anyone in our peninsula is listening to this, and it was a little 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. I remember the address, so when I became a real estate agent, I pulled it up. And I think my parents paid like $240K for that home. And that home, they didn't keep it. They ended up selling it. That home today is like $1.5 million. If it was in the same condition. It's crazy, bro, to think about it. And and my parents, they had to sell, I think, now that what I understand what they did, they actually short sold, meaning they might have been behind on the payments or something. So the reason I'm sharing this is, even back then, it all goes with, even they were good paying jobs and stuff like that. Like, things happen. And it's one of those things where even though the home was cheap for that time, we look at it and it's like, man, I'd buy that home right now for $250.
Yeah.
Right. But looking back on it, is that $250 might have been super expensive back then based on how much money people were making. Right. So crazy, bro. Like literally, it's like our buddy Chris Cruz with the Cruz Group. He sold one a couple years back, like 10 houses up from where I grew up. And I want to say he got like his client got like 1.2, 1.3 million for the same neighborhood, bro. It's foggy there, like 10 months out of the year, because it's right on the ocean side. Like the street, the homes across the street, it's a cliff and the ocean. Like 1.5 million.
And it's a small house.
It's like 1,100 square feet.
Imagine when you could get for something more around, 1,800, 1,900 square feet.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
$2 million to live in San Mateo County. It's beautiful. I don't know if it's that beautiful. That's just my opinion.
Well, we're going to go into the cheaper counties in a minute, but let's continue here. We move a little bit down south into Santa Clara County, and you're looking at $1,840,000. So just a little bit cheaper, but very comparable to San Mateo County.
I heard Santa Clara County has the highest percentage of millionaires in the country. And the reason being is because of the home prices. Because technically that's part of your net worth is your home price.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, and we all been to, every Bay Area person's been to Great America, right? When I grew up, and just to age myself, I'm 43, so I was born in 82, right? So we were going to Great America in the 80s, right? When I grew up and I started like junior high, high school, if you lived in the South Bay, we would ask you like, why do you live down there? That's so far. That's what we used to say. So, you live in Mountain View? Where is that? Who lives in Mountain View? Like, seriously. I live in Daly City, bro. You're hecka far. You're like 20 minutes away. That's how we are in the Bay Area.
Right.
You're so far. You're like, it's like 25 minutes. Like, we think we're so spoiled here.
Right.
But yeah, now who's laughing? The person living in Mountain View, his parents owned that home they probably bought a home for $100K back in like 92. Now it's worth 1.8 million.
Yeah, easily. It's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
It is crazy. So the next most expensive county to live in is Marin County.
Yeah, it's nice up there.
No, sorry. My apologies. San Francisco.
San Francisco
County.
City and county. So those that don't live in the Bay Area, if you didn't know, San Francisco is a city and a county. That's it. They're the only city in its county.
That is correct. That's $1,432,500.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's probably one of the few counties where it's probably gone down. If I had to guess, I think that's gone down.
Especially after COVID. It went
the
city. It went down.
The city, nothing against the city, born in St. Luke's Hospital on Cesar Chavez Street, but the city is in need of a renaissance. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and it will be the jewel of the Bay Area once again. But right now, it's a little lost. We'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that. Okay. Next less expensive county is Alameda County at $1,150,000.
And Alameda County's big.
Yes, you go all the way to Livermore,
Yeah. So you have Oakland, Pleasanton,
Dublin.
Dublin, Livermore, Hayward, Fremont. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fremont's Alameda County
yeah,
too. Yeah. And then you have Berkeley. Um, I know Kensington's right down a small
right.
little, but yeah, it's a big county.
It
They
is.
cut Alameda. Yeah, the island of Alameda.
I think I would say is top 3 biggest counties in the Bay Area.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So yeah, Alameda's nice. There's certain parts, and I would say same thing. Like, the city of Oakland's a beautiful city. Certain pockets of Oakland, but again, it needs a little it's in need of a little bit of a renaissance as well.
Right. Okay. So now we go up north to the North Bay, Napa County at just under $1 million.
Okay.
It's $917,500.
Not bad for wine country.
If you go west to Sonoma County,
Okay.
you got Santa Rosa, Bronner Park,
Yep.
so on and so forth. $811,470.
Okay.
Not bad.
Those are very nice neighborhoods too. Very
Wine country.
Wine country, very family oriented, good schools. Like, it's solid up there.
Yep.
But then again, if you're gonna live up there, that commute, I personally think that's one of the worst commutes is living in those areas because BART doesn't go up there. You almost have to ferry or drive, right? And the Golden Gate Bridge, although they've done a lot of improvements as far as like when you come across and they built that tunnel, that commute is rough. I did it a little bit. That commute is rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And now let's mention the most inexpensive county of all, Contra Costa County. Oh, sorry. My apologies. My apologies. The next.
What was Marin County? What was Marin County?
Sorry, my apologies. Marin County, $1,332,500.
So a little bit less than San Francisco.
So a little bit less than San Francisco.
Marin County is nice. So you have like Novatos, like the peak of Marin County. Then you go down. So you have like Sausalito, Tiburon. You have some of the most expensive real estate in Marin County. It is very specific. I used to when I managed banks, I managed like 4 banks in Marin County. It's nice up there, bro.
It's really nice.
And no one's worried about a commute. They make enough money. They can work from home.
they probably all work from home, huh? Okay. So now we go east.
Okay.
Sorry, and Contra Costa isn't the cheapest county of all. It's actually second to last.
Okay.
And it's $785,000 to live in Contra Costa County. As far as your median price.
Okay. Yes. So Contra Costa, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
We're coming to you live right now from the MVP Real Estate Studios.
Yeah.
in Concord, which is in Contra Costa. And I think, and we'll get into this after we go over this list, but I think Concord is one of the most slept on cities in all of the Bay Area. And stay tuned because I'll tell you why. Okay.
Yeah.
What's next?
It's growing too. It's pretty awesome. I want to get back to Concord. I grew up in Concord. But anyway, the cheapest county of all.
Drum roll. Boom.
Solano County at $565,000. I have a listing coming soon in Fairfield.
Fairfield's nice, man. So you have Vallejo.
Yeah.
Sassoon City. So that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I think
City.
so. It's not. I'm pretty sure it's Sassoon.
Yeah.
Rio Vista, which is weird because Rio Vista is kind of like border Contra Costa. And then you have Fairfield. Vacaville is really nice. I love playing golf in Fairfield. Like, one of my favorite golf courses is in Fairfield. A lot of nice homes up there.
Vallejo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the cheapest county to live in, and
I think Vallejo has so much potential as a city, and I'll get into that too. But I think Vallejo could be like prime real estate in the Bay Area if like things went how they're supposed to go. It's such a beautiful city as far as like the different sections and different areas and all the waterfront property that they have there. It's a shame that it's not as prestigious as
it went bankrupt at some point.
Yeah, it's the first city to go bankrupt.
Yeah. So
during the crash.
Right. So Yeah. So that being said, now that we covered, the price point of each county, let's talk about the different cities within each county. We mentioned Concord.
Let's talk about Concord, man.
Yeah.
That's where our office is. You're born and raised, in Concord.
No, I
Not
was.
born, but raised in Concord.
Yes.
Essentially a Concord native. So why don't you talk a little bit about what makes Concord so unique and why you want to move your family back to Concord when you get the opportunity?
Yeah, man. So nothing but great experiences in Concord growing up. And it's changed for the better, I think, as I've grown up. And I think it's really essentially the next Walnut Creek, which is at one point was the safest city in all of
Yeah.
the United States of America.
Yeah.
And as it continues to, everything obviously is growing as every city around it grows, so does that same city. And I think as affordability becomes harder, everyone is starting to migrate into, cities like Concord. And there's just a lot of, new buildings coming up, you have the veranda that just got
Yeah.
built, and there's a lot of money being poured into Concord, and it's only going to get better and better. There's new housing that's going to develop in the military
Where
base
the military
eventually.
bases used to be. Yeah.
Great schools, very family oriented. Our office is in downtown Concord. We could literally walk down to Todos Los Santos
Yeah.
Plaza, and it's just it's a nice walk, and it's very peaceful, and there's a lot of good restaurants around, and I love it.
I would say Concord. I think, in my experience, not growing up in this area, but being in Contra Costa County, East Contra Costa County, right? So Contra Costa County, they kind of split it into, it's one, but two. You have West Contra Costa County, which is like Richmond, El Sobrante, right?
El Sobrante,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
that area, like more towards the bay. And as you come down four, you have Martinez.
Hercules
Yeah,
before Martinez.
Yeah. Hercules, Martinez, Concord, Walnut Creek, and you keep going east. And
Pleasant Hill.
yeah, and then you keep going east and goes all the way out to Discovery Bay.
Yeah.
Which is pretty deep. But Concord reminds me of San Jose. Like it reminds me of a mini San Jose. When I lived in San Jose for those 3.5 years, like you start realizing there's so many. San Jose's huge. And I feel Concord's huge, bro. Like there's so many different pockets. You can drive for some time and you'll still be in Concord.
Yep.
You have like a downtown. It still kind of has like a cultural vibe to it, right? Like where our office is kind of like downtown Concord, and there's you got mom and pop shops, and then it's not very commercialized, but then you have the new commercialized, high-end shopping centers like the Veranda. And then when it comes to housing, I feel like there's something for everybody. There's condos, right?
Yeah.
There's ranchers, there's big estates, there's new construction. Like coming from San Francisco on the peninsula, and once I've been in real estate, I help a lot of people relocate from where I grew up. A lot of friends, families, past friends, classmates. I've helped a lot of people move from San Francisco, Daly City, South San Francisco, San Bruno, different parts of the peninsula to Concord. And when they want to move out this way, it's because of affordability. They go from having to 1.9 million median price to 758,
less than half,
right? And they come out to Concord and they all love it, bro. Like everyone that's moved out here that I've helped from the peninsula to Concord loves it. It reminds them of the neighborhoods they grew up in the peninsula. You had like everyone knows each other. You still kind of have like that family feel, and there's tons of stuff to do, right? I think people have the misconception that out this way, there's nothing to do. Walnut Creek reminds me of peak San Francisco. When I mean like .com boom, 1996, 7, 8, like the mid 90s, bro. Being a teenager in the mid 90s, taking BART down to downtown San Francisco to Market Street, walking to Virgin Records and Old Navy, and you had that
the West Valley Mall and stuff.
and the Westfield Mall. Yeah. Dude,
Westfield.
it was so dope, and you could walk the streets. And yeah, you had your street performers and kind of had your street characters out there, but it was safe, and your parents were cool with you going. That's how Walnut Creek is, bro. A little bit more high end, I would say, but Walnut Creek's nice, man. On a sunny day,
Yeah.
bro, downtown Walnut Creek is popping.
Everything is walking distance. I mean, literally walking distance. Like you can go from one end of downtown Walnut Creek to the other end in like, I don't know, what, 10, 15 minutes?
And it's kind of getting that, the same vibe as kind of what they did over where the Giants play, right? What is it? Is it AT&T Park still?
Right.
Or
No, it's Oracle. Yeah.
Right? But King Street and how they developed that, you're starting to see all these developments in Walnut Creek of these high luxury condos for rent or sell around kind of all that shopping and restaurants. It's really cool, man.
Yeah.
And if you live in Concord, you're literally like a 5-minute drive to downtown Walnut Creek.
Yep. You can even take BART. You can take BART to
Yeah,
Walnut
there's
Creek.
BART.
There's 2 stations in Concord.
2 stations in Concord and 1 in Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go from North Concord, which is the furthest point out.
Which is a really nice neighborhood too. Up and coming for sure.
Okay. And you could take that station to Walnut Creek and literally be in downtown Walnut Creek in, I would say, 25 minutes to half hour. Max. Tops. Which, is pretty awesome. And if you want to continue that, that ride on BART, you can actually go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it just connects the whole entire Bay Area. That's the whole thing about the East Bay, that you're not limited to just driving. There's other options that you can do. You can even, if you wanted to you mentioned the ferry, maybe you don't want to drive all the way to San Francisco. Maybe you drive to Alameda and you take the ferry across the bay, do something different for a change and get on a boat ride, maybe with your kids and whatnot, and on a sunny day, and you can enjoy a boat ride across the bay right into San Francisco.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Or even Vallejo. You mentioned Vallejo. You could take the ferry from Vallejo for those commuters that didn't know.
Yep.
And go, and let's say you work in the peninsula, or let's say you work in San Francisco, you could take that ferry all the way to San Francisco as well.
Nice, man.
So,
hell yeah. So Concord. What's some other cities? I want to speak on the city. The city I live in right now, Oakley. I didn't even know this city existed until I drove up one day with a friend and my now wife and his now wife, just to go look at new homes. He was like, "Hey, my cousin or aunt lives here. They're building homes. Let's go check it out." My parents had moved to Antioch for a short stint in like the late 90s when Antioch was starting to boom. So I didn't even know Oakley existed, bro, until I drove there to look at the home. We ended up buying, long story short, we ended up buying a home. This city, the growth in this city is crazy. It's one of the newer cities. It became a city in 99, so it's a super young city. And like all the infrastructure is starting to like really grow now. I mean, they're building new shopping centers. There's like 2 big construction projects going on right now. It has a small little downtown that's starting to expand. They're building all the infrastructure. You have a mix of a lot of new construction, and then you have a mix of homes that were built in like the 60s and 70s.
More towards downtown, right?
Yeah. There's also, what people don't know, there's like a very exclusive neighborhood right off the freeway the street's called Neroli, and it's all custom built. Like, I want to say they're kind of like mansions, bro. They're all custom built homes on like an acre of land. Some of them have like tennis courts, and they go for like $1.2 million, $1.3 million, depending on the condition of the home. And it's I think the average age in Oakley is like in the mid 30s, has a good median salary. It's almost $100K. And yes,
great school district too, as well.
Yeah, solid school district. And it's just I love it because like my neighbors are cool. Like everyone has a kid around the same age. And the city that it neighbors, Brentwood, is actually a really nice neighborhood as well.
It's also growing.
Yeah, Brentwood's growing too. And it's cool because Brentwood kind of has all this stuff already established. It has like an outdoor mall. It has a cool little downtown that I was just at on Friday night. We went to downtown Brentwood to one of the restaurants, and there's Dude, it was dope, bro. There was people walking the streets with their family. The place we went to was like an outdoor venue, and like kids are running around playing. My daughter's meeting new friends. We're there having a beer, and you just you feel comfortable. You feel safe. Oakley's one of the safest cities in California, let alone the Bay Area. It's like top 3 in the Bay Area, and I think it's slept on, man. I've since been there. When I bought, home values are up probably like 30+%. And I think that's just going to keep going and going, bro. I feel it's very similar to some of these cities we saw that I grew up in where, people were buying homes for 400K and now they're in a million. I can really see Oakley being a city that in 10 years, it costs over $1 million to get into.
Oh, it'll easily get there.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I agree with you, man. It's and you know what? I think we do have to mention property taxes are
they're a little bit higher
than your.
But you see where your money goes.
Yeah, you see where, and that's where you're like, this is okay.
Yeah.
Where you see the development, you see the strive to grow, and you see the streets.
Yep.
Being built and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you can get. I'm not a big political guy. As long as if I'm paying taxes and my city's nice and I can walk the streets and I can take my daughter to the park around the block and it's always manicured and clean and being fixed and it's a safe city and the police force is super cool and there's tons of police for this. There's like 45,000 people in Oakley. I want to say they have like 60 police. They almost have as many police officers in Oakley than they do in Antioch, and Oakley's like not even half the size of Antioch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I get it. It costs.
It costs.
And there's reason why the tax is a little bit higher, but I think that's a slept on city is Oakley. And if you want a little bit more developed city, Brentwood. And yes, they're far. And I think a study just came out and people are like, oh, people in Brentwood have the longest commute. Look, let's get into that when it comes to commute. I'm a prime example. I moved to Oakley. When I moved to Oakley, bro, I was commuting to Los Altos for like a month. Guess what? I transferred. I transferred to Montclair Village, Oakland Hills. Still pretty far. But I left. It was about an hour each way. Okay. Then one day I said, I don't want to commute anymore. So guess what? I was still working at the bank. I transferred to a bank that was closer. And I made the same amount of money. You know what I'm saying? And I say, hey, guess what? I really don't want to work. I want to work for myself. So I became a realtor. I got into real estate. And I've had friends that have made the move to like Pleasant Hill. And they were working in the city, in the medical industry. Guess what? Now they work in the medical industry in Walnut Creek. Like, it's not an instant transition, but I seem like it. What I tend to notice is people tend to figure it out. And if they do end up I still know people that commute from Brentwood to like Oakland. I have a friend I grew up with in high school. He commutes from Oakley down the street from me to San Francisco, but his profession, he starts super early. So he has like a 45-minute drive both ways because there's no commute. There's no traffic when he commutes.
Yeah, like I just helped someone relocate from San Jose to Antioch, and they have counter commute.
Yeah.
They work at an hours where they don't have to, deal with it. And
Yeah.
that's pretty convenient when you can be in San Jose in an hour and 15 minutes as opposed to 2 hours and a half.
Yeah.
In heavy traffic. So
it's all relative, bro.
Yeah, it's all relative.
When I lived in San Jose, I lived on the backside of Santana Row, right off of 280, the freeway. And I was working in Los Altos. On a Saturday, it would take me 18 minutes from door to door, right? Monday through Friday, it would take me an hour to an hour 15 for that same drive. It was literally like a 18-mile drive that would take me over an hour because I passed like the Apple headquarters. I passed like the intersection where people were going to Facebook. I'd rather drive a distance for an hour than to drive 10 miles for an hour. Does that make sense?
Oh,
as long as I'm moving, bro,
I can
I'm
see
all right.
why. I mean, imagine seeing like the same car right next to you. And it's happened
crazy.
where I see the same car next to me all the way until I get to work.
Yeah.
for an hour. That's crazy. That you could go crazy after that, bro.
And,
Like-
and if you're not looking to move out this way, I think Oakland, man, certain parts of Oakland are slept on, bro. Like I just did that one deal, that neighborhood, it was super nice, dude. And you know, you get the bad rep because all the other stuff that's going on there, but there's still nice neighborhoods where
there's
people
pockets where
people take pride in their neighborhood and
Yeah.
their home. I think that's a city that has tons of opportunity. And the circle back, bro, the North Bay, Solano County. Didn't
Yeah.
you just help some people, right? Move
I'm ha-
from the
Novato,
Marin
Yeah.
County to
Fairfield.
Fairfield.
Yeah.
Dude, Fairfield's super nice. Up and coming, new neighborhoods, new construction. The existing homes are nice. Vacaville's a super cool city because you have Travis Air Force Base, so you have a lot of like family-oriented military service members out
Retired people. Yeah.
there. Vallejo, bro, one of my favorite neighborhoods, and I'm going to put it on blast, Glen Cove. The
Yeah.
Glen Cove neighborhood of Vallejo is so sick, bro. I wish I would have known about that neighborhood during the crash because I would have bought a house. You have like this private cove that looks into the bay, and the views are stunning.
You can see the Carquinez
Dude,
Bridge
it's
too.
so sick,
Yeah.
bro. Glen Cove. And I think Vallejo has so much potential. Like old by the ferry building,
Yeah.
old school Vallejo, like waterfront property, Victorian style homes. So much potential. Vallejo City Council,
Get
get your shit together.
Get
You
your
have so much potential for that city, man. It's
Yeah.
very conveniently located too, because you have access to Contra Costa County, Marin County. You can take the
Mhm.
37 or the bridge, and then you could also come across and go down 80 and get into Alameda County in San Francisco.
Yep.
Or you can take the ferry. So it has its benefits. Any other city you want to talk about?
No, I mean we covered for the most part. You know,
And it's just our opinion.
it's our opinion.
If you live in a different city, I'm sure your city is beautiful and nice. Every city in the Bay Area has a unique flair to, and that's what makes living in the Bay Area so fun and such an honor to be out this way. Every city has you know a twist on how Bay Area living is, and this is just a podcast. Some of the cities we're noticing, some of the cities we like in our day-to-day profession as we help families relocate into these cities.
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, with that, guys, thank you for listening to another episode of the Most Valuable Podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we also are on YouTube where you can watch us and listen at the same time, whatever you like to do. And once again, we look forward to winning with you.